Alright, so today's topic will be about CBD and how I incorporate CBD into my workouts and fitness regimen. Most people have probably heard of CBD at this point. It was legalized federally, so hemp is where CBD comes from. Hemp is associated with cannabis, but most people don't understand the difference. Hemp is essentially cannabis. Okay, cannabis is a species of plant that people are familiar with as far as THC goes. Now, THC is the psychotropic, psychoactive part of the plant that causes intoxication. CBD does not cause intoxication. So, how do I use it? I personally use it mainly for, I guess a variety of reasons. People get curious about it because it seems to help with pain relief. It seems to help with anxiety. Some people use it as a sleep aid. I personally use it for all of those reasons. Some people also have poor experiences with CBD. It's unfortunate because when it was legalized in 2018, it was rushed out onto the market as some type of special plant medicine that had the ability to heal everything. It was like a panacea of medicine, basically. People thought it was gonna, fight cancer, stop seizures, and it does have potential to do those things. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not making any medical advice here. It's not officially FDA approved, or I think there is one official drug. It's not technically a drug, it's still CBD, but there's one called cannabidiol or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm probably not remembering it, but there is one FDA approved CBD. I can't even call it a product. I guess it'd be called a pharmaceutical at that point. Most people are not using that, and they're not using it properly as far as dosage goes. I worked at a CBD shop for about 2 years, and this was right when it went legal, federally legal, under the 2018 Farm Bill. Lots of people were coming in at that time. We were selling so many products. I wish I could tell you guys how much money I made that business. It was a small company. I was basically just a salesperson, customer service rep, whatever you want to call it. The profit margins back then were crazy. So crazy. So like one of the most common strength options that people would go for at that time, and this was in 2018, 2019, was about 1,000 milligrams. Okay, so you'd buy a 1 ounce bottle of an oil-based product, which is like MCT oil, which comes from coconuts. It's what I actually put in my coffee. There's other forms too. There's like hemp seed oil, there's olive oil. So there's different types of oils, and that's just the carrier that they use for the CBD. But 1,000 milligrams was the most popular size or strength. I don't think it was the most popular strength for the fact that it worked perfectly at that strength option. I think it was more so due to price. So just to give you comparison, back then we were selling 1,000 milligrams in a few different companies and different variations for roughly $60. I've seen some 1,000 milligram bottles go for like $85. And again, this was back then. This was like during the boom of CBD, right? So lots of people were coming in curious about it, wanting to try it, but it was very expensive. Now, if a product's very expensive and you're on a budget and you're looking for relief, you're probably not gonna want to use that whole bottle right away, unless it really does work. Maybe you'll find the right dose and you have to use a lot of it. Well, that's the problem. A lot of people were not getting the proper dose. For example, 1,000 milligrams, if we divide that by 30, which you have a 1 ounce bottle, which is the standard size of CBD, you divide that by 30, and 1,000 milligrams. And the reason why you divide that by 30 is because there's 30 milliliters inside a 1 ounce bottle. And 1 milliliter, if you've seen a dropper bottle, is 1 full dropper. So 1 milliliter, 1 full dropper, there's 30 full milliliters in a 1 ounce bottle. And sometimes you'll see 2 ounce, 4 ounce bottles, but for the most part, it's just 1 ounce bottles. So 1,000 milligrams divided by 30 equals 33 milligrams. So most people were coming in, they're using 33 milligram dosages. Some people were just using half a dropper. Some people were using a quarter dropper. I've talked to several people that even use droplets, like little, not the full dropper, but little droplets that you can drop out of the dropper, which is like a microdose. And I've had lots of people tell me that it was working at that dose, okay, which is amazing for them. And I think those are more the people that don't use cannabis. I personally, back then I had my medical card, so I was using cannabis all the time, and honestly I still do. I take lots of breaks nowadays, but I still partake. For people who don't use cannabis, their tolerance to cannabinoids in general is going to be very low, so they will probably see some results. But I've even seen some extreme cases where people will take a microdose and fall asleep for several hours, sometimes 12 hours of sleep from a small dose of CBD. I think those cases are extreme, but I also believe that it's probably because those people are deficient. Their endocannabinoid system is probably not getting enough of its own endocannabinoids. So endo meaning inside the body, endogenous, your body produces it. We do produce our own cannabinoids, one being called anandamide. And if you look at the chemical structure of CBD next to anandamide, they're almost identical with very, very minor differences. So basically they kind of interact with the same receptors in our body, which is why CBD does what it does, and it's why THC does what it does. THC is a little different. THC is like a key that locks into those receptors, and which is why you can actually feel the effects so intensely, whereas CBD can interact with the receptor, but it doesn't necessarily lock into it. And that's kind of a hard way to describe it, but that's basically what's happening chemically inside the body. So what CBD does is it'll actually increase your own cannabinoids endogenously. So that anandamide and whatever other chemicals that your body produces, they're also known as the bliss chemicals. Ananda means bliss. The scientist who discovered anandamide, I forget, is probably 50 or 60 years ago, maybe longer. The scientist who discovered it named it anandamide because ananda means bliss, and it comes from like Eastern medicine, and I think it comes from like Hinduism or something like that. But the scientist knew that chemical is what caused a lot of endorphin release and a lot of I guess you could say comfort that the body provides itself under times of stress. So if your body's not producing enough of its own anandamide and other endogenous cannabinoids, you can introduce something like CBD, THC, and even CBG. There's other cannabinoids. CBD and CBG, CBN, those are kind of referred to as minor cannabinoids. And THC, actually CBD and THC would be more major cannabinoids, and then CBG and those others would be minor. Although cultivation practices have come a long way as far as producing plants that can actually grow only CBG, only CBD. There's a classification within hemp that's referred to as types. So you have type 1, you have type 2, type 3, and type 4. Type 1 is going to be your THC dominant cannabis. Type 2 is going to be a mixture of CBD and THC in varying percentages, like varying ratios. Type 3 is going to be predominantly CBD, and then type 4 will be predominantly minor cannabinoids, which right now is mainly CBG. CBN, they haven't produced plants that can grow CBN exclusively because CBN is more so a byproduct of the degradation of other cannabinoids, mainly CBD and THC. So over time, with oxidation, those cannabinoids will break down into others and basically convert into CBN, which is also very low in psychotropic activity as far as intoxication, but it can be very sedating. So some of these cannabinoids have been focused in on for specific effects. So you'll see CBN inside of sleep blends. You'll see CBG inside of energetic blends because CBG tends to be a little bit more energizing for some people. CBD is kind of like, it can kind of go both ways in terms of how much you take, what time you take, or what time of day you take it, and where your body is currently at when you take it. So cannabinoids are known to bring homeostasis to the body, which brings balance. So if you're lacking sleep and you take some of these cannabinoids, they might make you sleepy because you're lacking sleep and it's trying to bring your body back into homeostasis. If you are sleeping too much, maybe you'll take the right dose and it might give you a little bit of energy. There's a lot of factors that people are unaware of with these products that can kind of affect the end result of what they're looking for. And you know, if somebody's trying to go to sleep and they take the wrong dose and maybe the wrong cannabinoid, and they might end up staying awake. They might be energized and wanting to clean their house, and they're like, well, but this is not what I wanted, right? So there's a lot to learn, that we need to learn about cannabis, and it's a good thing that it's legal now, so there can be more studies performed so that we can discover how all these systems work when taking CBD as in a supplemental form, or even people who consume it by smoking it. There is hemp flower you can smoke that only has trace amounts of THC, and a lot of people who don't like to get high, quote unquote high from cannabis, a lot of them will enjoy hemp flower because you still get some relief, but you're very mentally clear still, which is very interesting because I think a lot of people would probably benefit from that, but they don't want to try it because they associate cannabis, or they associate all of that stuff with getting high, and even getting high in itself to me is a part of the therapeutic potential of cannabis, but it's not for everybody, and I get that part. So that was a pretty long-winded intro for me to talk about how I incorporate CBD and all cannabinoids into my nutrition plan, my fitness plan, and I'm gonna make more videos maybe going over each cannabinoid, but for this video specifically, I just wanted to cover how I take CBD and how it helps me. So for me personally, I use CBD to balance my body out from my cannabis use. So when I find myself using THC too much, and I get some benefits from it, but there are times where I get out of hand with it and take too much, or just it's just becoming habitual, and then I become dependent on it, and then it kind of loses the magic that I enjoyed when I first started it, or after a long break or something. I will use CBD in those times to kind of help my body, because there is body chemicals that are changing when you take lots of THC and then you stop, or if you've never taken THC and then you try it, you are affecting your body's chemicals, hormones, different things, and over time, if you do that repeatedly, it will start to affect you, especially like sleep. It'll affect your appetite. Obviously, people know and have heard about the munchies. Now, CBD doesn't give you the munchies. If anything, CBD, I find if I take it properly and time it right, it can actually help me with my appetite in terms of curbing it. And I've talked to other people when I worked at the CBD shop too, who said, man, I feel like I'm losing weight. I feel like I have more energy, and I feel like I'm pain levels going down. So it's like I'm more active now. So there's a lot of nuance to it, obviously. But for me, I get a lot of anxiety relief from it as long as I take the right dose. But since I use cannabis, I have to take a lot of CBD. I have to take like hundreds of milligrams of it. So in my coffee, I put, and I'll play with these ratios too sometimes, but I have bulk CBD, which you guys saw in the intro. I have bulk CBG, bulk CBN, and I purchased that from Gilded Extracts. Gilded Extracts. They're probably the best price per gram that you can get for bulk extracts. And the cool part about isolates is what they're called, is basically what you saw, that white powder. It was basically 99% CBD or CBG or whatever it was. So it's just like the pure form. And it's basically tasteless. There is a slight taste to it. It's oil based, so that's why I had to put MCT oil. And of course the fats from the cream, if you use cream in your coffee. I also put like the coconut oil or the coconut powder creamer. So basically anything with fat is going to help increase the uptake of CBD, which is another thing to consider. If you take it, you want to do it around the time that you eat, or you want to take it with a snack, or you just want to have some fats in the mix. MCT oil is a very healthy fat actually, so it's good for you to, put in your coffee. It's going to give you energy. It provides essential fatty acids for the brain, and it's just all around, it's a good health supplement. So anything with fat will help the uptake. And like I said, at least 100 milligrams for me. I can't do a 33 milligram dose. People who are getting benefits at that low of a dose, that's amazing, and I'm glad that happens, but for me personally it doesn't. So yeah, I took 200 milligrams of CBD plus 200 milligrams of CBG. Sometimes I'll just do 400 milligrams of just CBD or 400 milligrams of just CBG. I think the highest I've ever taken was 500 or maybe 600 milligrams, which if my THC tolerance is really high at that time, I might not even notice it. If I'm on a break and I'm clean from weed completely and I take a 500 milligram dose, it'll probably make me kind of relaxed, maybe even sleepy if I'm tired. Which is crazy though, because if somebody else took that much CBD at once, they might even feel like they're high. So there's so much variation to consider with this. If you're a cannabis user, if you're not, it's like a completely different approach. But I'm about to go to the gym soon, so I'm pretty stoked that I got my coffee, got up early, been working hard on my setup for my YouTube videos and stuff, so I'm staying productive in there. But I notice it does get me in the zone once I take my pre-workout or my coffee and I mix it with the CBD. It seems like the perfect balance where you get the energy from the caffeine, you get the relaxation, the subtle relaxation from the CBD, the focus from the CBG. The CBG helps with a lot of mental stuff. Again, I'm gonna make videos kind of outlining these more specifically, but yeah, it's amazing for people who work out because you're putting a lot of stress on the body, you're putting a lot of inflammation on the body. So CBD and CBG will help kind of control those. It'll keep the body in balance as you put stresses on it. And we have immune cells in our body that interact with these cannabinoids on so many different levels. So the health benefits that you're receiving from these things, you might not notice them right away. It might take a while for those cannabinoids to build up in your body over time. So I would always tell people, take it for a good amount of time. Take it every day. Maybe take it at the same time every day. Be consistent with it, because some people will notice results right away, and that's great. But other people might have to take it for a couple of weeks to saturate those cells and to bring the body back into balance. So consider taking it. I tried to start a CBD company over the past couple years, and it kind of just, it's just there. It's kind of just hovering. I'm more so just selling to people I know personally, but my goal with this channel is to kind of eventually expand it out and maybe one day have a CBD company that I can really fine-tune products that I believe in with proper dosages, high quality ingredients. But it's still a work in process, and the more people that watch my channel, if you're interested in this, subscribe. I would appreciate that. Hit the like, comment, all that jazz. But cannabis is something I'm passionate about, so I definitely want to keep making videos about this. And yeah, I don't know what else to cover. I gotta go hit the gym. I'm getting kind of antsy. I want to go get my alone time. It's very important to have your a routine that allows you to have your personal time too. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. Appreciate you watching the video. Again, if you're interested in cannabis, if you're interested in fitness, music, pop culture, conspiracies, any of that stuff, I'll start covering more of that stuff in my channel. I'm still getting ball rolling here. I got a new PC and stuff, so I'm excited on what I'm able to do now with video editing and with, more creative stuff. So appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you have a great day. If you have any questions, if I didn't cover something, or if you're curious about any of this information or this topic, comment, let me know. I appreciate the feedback, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.